I just want to take one moment. This one's for the killer.
Walter Killer Kowalski. And I think, and you have to fact check me, that's okay, I think he got that name after he ripped off one of his opponent's ears. And I think someone told him or yelled at him directly and said, "You are a killer." And that's when he took on that name, Killer Kowalski. Fact check it if you want. If not, it works for me. But he also, I know he traveled alone. I've listened to some of his interviews early on when I started listening to more like interviews on YouTube and things like that. And one of them, he was talking about being alone in his car, turning off the car radio. He would talk back to the car radio sometimes, but he also turned down the car radio and would cut promos using the Killer Kowalski, that killer voice that he had, and cringing up. He said he'd cringe up his hand and do little things like a mime, I guess, if you will, or mimicking, if you will. I'm sorry, not a mime, but a mimic of what he wanted to project in his upcoming promos when he became, quote, Killer Kowalski.
Yeah. And that's, you know, all the guys that you ever really hear that got over, besides a good work ethic, the one thing you hear on is they worked on their character. They knew who they were. They knew how to get themselves into that role to play it. DDP, Macho Man, all these guys, like they could plan a whole match in their head in 15 seconds and have it all laid out. But they also knew everything their character needed to do to either, you know, get over or get heat. Right. Yeah, the way I heard the Killer Kowalski thing, it was a guy named Yukon Eric who had some nasty cauliflower ears.
Okay.
And Kowalski gave him a knee drop and the guy's ear popped off.
Oh, is that what it was? Okay.
Yes. And apparently the story goes, who knows what's apocryphal or whatever, but that was where that started to cement him as just the villain. So they came up with the story, or maybe it really happened, that he then later went to the hospital and laughed at the guy.
This thing got by the name of Yukon Eric. I tied Yukon Eric's leg over the second rope with his toe on the bottom rope. So he's trapped there. So I climb up top to him, going to jump on him. The referee's underneath me, untying him. I have a picture of that. He's untie his leg. So I jumped over the referee. As Yukon Eric saw me coming down, he can't turn away. My shin bone scraped his cheek so tight, it ripped the side, his whole ear, the cauliflower ripped it off the side of his head, rolled across the room like a golf ball. And blood spurting all over the place. His heart beat, boom, the blood spurted, boom. Somebody threw a towel at him, he put a towel over his head, and was soaked in a few seconds. The towel was soaked. Whenever he pushed me back, he looked down, what's happening, what's happening? I said, I just tore his ear off. You did what? He looked down, picked it up off the ground. Holy mackerel. That's his, still throbbing. That's his ear. Yukon Eric walks over to the corner into the dressing room. The referee says, what do I do now? Raise my arm. I'm the only one left here. Oh, okay. Raise my arm as the winner. Walk to the hospital and walk up the second steps and look down the hallway. There's a room open door. There's a bunch of people in there. So that's Yukon Eric's room. Looked across the room. Here's Yukon Eric sitting on the edge of the bed, feet on the floor, his head bandaged around and around and around. First thought that came to my mind was Humpty Dumpty sitting on the wall. So I started laughing. So I threw my arms up in the air and went like that. I walked out. The next day, the Montreal Gazette, this was Friday, Montreal Gazette, on Saturday, headlines. Vlada Kowalski visited Yukon Eric in the hospital and laughs at him. The next following Wednesday, I'm walking toward the ring, people screaming, hollering at me. You monster, you animal, you killer, you're this, that. Hey, I like that name. From that day on, I changed my name to Killer Kowalski.
Now, also he was in a match, and I forgot who it was against, but boxing great Jack Dempsey was the referee.
Yeah, okay.
And Kowalski kicked him in the stomach and sent him to the hospital.
Oh, shit.
Which
he is a killer.
Oh, yeah. Which furthered his reputation. But did you know, I found out an interesting thing about Kowalski.
What's that?
He is the first man to pin Andre the Giant in North America.
Oh, is that right? Now, that is interesting.
Yep. So if nothing else makes you a killer, doing that makes you a giant killer.
That's right. Well, you know, but he had a great body too, a good hard work ethic body that just was hard everywhere it looked like. Mm-hmm. It was just big, looked like big cock strong body. So, and he pinned Andre the Giant. That, you know, that's that's doing something right there. Wow.
Yeah, and
how many people could say that?
It's very few. It's not a whole lot. I mean, he had lost, when he was still wrestling in Europe, he had lost a few matches, but by the time he got to North America, that's why nobody ever wanted to put a world title on him, because they're like, then somebody has to beat him, and that's not what we want. I did see a clip from a match one time, and I think it was one of the Moondogs. And Andre punches the guy, and as the guy's falling to the ground, Andre grabs him by the top of his pants and pulls him back up before the guy hits the ground. And so, yeah, I mean, you know, when you have an unstoppable man like that, and you give Kowalski a chance to, you know, beat him, you're putting some weight on Kowalski.
Yeah.
Now,
that's for sure, man.
I could find a reference or two, but I wasn't sure. But it looks like at some point in the 60s, he legally changed his name to Killer Kowalski as well.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
That's good to know. That's good to know. All right.
Read the book that has the literary and wrestling worlds on fire. Pin Me, Pay Me, Have Boots Will Travel, by accomplished professional wrestler Bobby Blaze Smedley. The incredible story of one man's battle to overcome all odds and realize a lifelong dream. Travel with Bobby in the ring, on the road, and around the world, including inside stories from WWE, WCW, Smoky Mountain Wrestling, and more. Forward to the book written by Jim Cornette. Buy your copy of Pin Me, Pay Me, Have Boots Will Travel on Amazon.com today.